The buffet has begun of international soccer. We are into the final group stage games of the World Cup. I have fed as much as possible, and like my ancestors, I will overgorge myself as we move on to day 2 of a 6-match day. We are here at First Touch 26 like we are every single day at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time to chat through everything you've seen at the World Cup and get you ready for the day to come. I, of course, am David Gass, and joined today with a expert crew. I've got Jordan Angeli and I've got Matt Doyle with me. You guys ready to overeat with me?
Always. The third round of the group stage, that's when the buffet begins. I
thought we were in like mid buffet.
Right?
We already got one
were we
serving
doing
and now
a
we're
la
back for a
carte
second?
the first couple of
Yeah,
rounds?
I would say so. It's Chuscaria style,
Right.
where they give you the little plate for salad first, and you're like, oh, and then you go and there's a lot of salads,
Right.
4 games a day,
Right.
and you're like, oh, I could eat a lot of these, and they're good because they know in the back of their head the expensive meat's coming late. We don't want you to take too much.
Right.
Then the second thing happens, which is they bring out the chickens and some of the sausages that are a little cheaper and some of the cuts that you don't want as much. And as an American at Chuscaria in Brazil, you start gorging.
Yeah.
And the Brazilians aren't eating, and you don't know why. Why are they saying no to everything? Why don't they take anything? And then the rump steak comes by last, and you're too full for it. And it turns out that's the best part. So that's what's happening.
The feijoada, the moqueca.
Yeah.
I mean, that's when we get to the knockout rounds.
I don't know that got served. I may have been passed out by the time that got served, potentially in that experience. But yes, so to
But we're
all
here.
of your
We're
answers,
feasting. We're feasting with
It is
you.
all you can eat.
Yeah.
And there is a point sometimes where the owner comes in and says, you have eaten all you can eat. And then
there's-
they kick you out.
There's also a point where you're just staring at it and you're thinking, I want some more of
Yeah.
that, but I don't know what's happening. Or that's how I felt yesterday when I'm watching all these games.
There was
and I'm
potato
like,
salad sitting there. You know it's good potato salad. And at some point
Yeah,
you
you
were
can't.
like, I probably
You just
shouldn't eat
can't.
anymore. It was a wild night. It was an incredible night. And we have a lot to talk about. We have a special show for you on this day. So we are going to, of course, talk through everything that happened in these final group stage games for groups A, B, and C. We're going to look at the standings and where that falls and everything else involved with that. We're also, of course, going to preview another day with 6 matches. So they all start at 4 p.m. Eastern time. We have Curaçao, Cape Verde down in Philadelphia, and then Ecuador, Germany, which is going to be right across the river here in New Jersey, East Rutherford, New Jersey, the home of Jimmy Hoffa and
Derek.
And Derek. And then from there, we roll through the rest of the night. And of course, we finish with the United States against Turkey, the final group stage game. Already decided for both teams, but we will have a live post-game show for you on the SoccerWise channel coming out of that one. So it'll be live on YouTube. We will, of course, post it as a podcast immediately after, and then that will be available for you the entire weekend to catch up. And we believe that the U.S. will be playing Bosnia and Herzegovina in the next round next Wednesday. There's a 99.9% chance that it occurs.
who's making those percentages?
Apparently, there are 400.
Mathematicians.
Yeah, not us.
Apparently,
Right?
there are 465 permutations, and 464 of them have Bosnia playing the U.S.
All right.
If it's the one,
Yeah.
Doctor Strange,
Yeah.
Doctor
Strange,
Strange
yeah.
style, that would be a really crazy ending to all of this. But that will be the end of the night. And of course, we'll be back tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time to talk it through. We also have a special guest in studio. So Sam Obaseki is going to join us towards the end of the show to chat about his experience traveling around, seeing some World Cup games, and what he has taken in so far from what has been a wild tournament. But every show I start you guys with what you have taken in so far and the experiences, the big things that you have excited you. So Jordan, why don't you get us started with your big thing?
Well, this tournament is just filled with so many moments that I hope we don't forget, right? You want to remember some of the big things, the saves and the goals. And I think yesterday's goal by Wilson Isidore for Haiti, this is a Haitian team who knew that they were eliminated. And they went out there and they faced Morocco with such bravery. And the goal that he scores is like one out of your dreams. Yeah. It is on a rope, far corner, top of the box, like everything you would ever imagine a goal you would score in a World Cup would be. And he got to do it for this Haitian squad. And I felt like for them, there's many teams that we'll talk about that had a really good showing at this World Cup and gave us like a little bit of our hearts is like with them. And I think this Haitian team is that. And this goal was just like one of my favorites that I've seen all tournament.
I mean, he got such power on it, and his plant foot didn't even come off the ground. It was just perfect technique. Like, I think you get to strike a ball that pure like 3 times in your life, and for this guy, one of them just happened to be in the World Cup.
Yeah, and he had 15 touches all game, and 2 of them led to this insane goal.
It was the second World Cup for Haiti. They scored 2 goals in 1974. They scored 2 goals in this World Cup. So it's probably one people will remember for 40 years.
Yeah. Well, I think they'll be back a lot sooner this time around because, I mean, they played well all 3 games. Obviously, there's still a gap between them and the Moroccos of the world, but they didn't look like they were completely out of their depth. Same thing for Scotland against Brazil. That said, Brazil didn't look great. Scotland were in that game. My thing was the reaction of the Brazilian press corps after the game. It was a 3-0 win, and it was commanding in the sense that Scotland were not ever going to create goals, but it felt like Brazil weren't going to create goals either off of anything but their press. And the Brazilian press corps was livid. They went after Carlo Ancelotti after this game to the point where he's like, guys, relax, chill. We just won 3-0 in the World Cup, and they're just not having it. Our guy, Sam Jones, who does great work for Five Stripe Final, was down there kind of recounting a little bit of the press conference, and there are clips that have come out. And Ancelotti has coached the biggest clubs in the world and, played in the World Cup and won Champions League. And he was like shell-shocked by the performance of the Brazilian press corps.
This is what happened with Tata in Mexico. When Tata had coached Barca, not as many teams at as high a level, but he coached Paraguay at a World Cup. And he took the Mexico job. And when he took it, coming out of MLS, I was like, he doesn't really understand. Like, this is different. It's not. This is not a team.
He probably thought it was going to be more like MLS. In MLS press corps, notoriously kind of friendly, right? But he didn't.
Not for Wilfred Zaha.
Right, fair. But Tata should have known. Mexico's press corps is more like the Barcelona press corps.
And the national team is a ministry of the government. Like, it's the people's team, and everything is dissected. You have very little control. You can't acquire players. You can't move players around. Like, there's only so much you can do, and you have to answer for every mistake that occurs, whether you have control of it or not. And I agree. Carlo Ancelotti has coached Real Madrid, it's the biggest team in the world. He's coached them multiple times. He's coached them at times when it's not going great, and then he wins the Champions League after those bad seasons. That's sort of how it's always gone. And this is just on a different level. Reminder, in 1998, after the World Cup final and Ronaldo was off the team and then back on, they had a congressional hearing for the team doctor to come in and be subpoenaed and speak in front of Congress. That's how big an issue it was considered. So this isn't just your average game going forward. But Brazil did win, and we'll dig into it. And you've got a nice tactics piece sponsored by Football Manager that we're going to get to when we get there. But let's start talking about these groups, because it was exactly what you would expect coming into the day as we take a look at the big standings right now. And if you are watching, any team with a nice little green next to them, they have clinched their spot in the next round of the World Cup. And let's start with Group A. We've got Mexico, and I didn't think I'd be saying this 24 hours ago. We've got South Africa as well, and it was a dramatic close to the night in Group A action. Mexico right now, they are undefeated. 3 games, all 3 wins. They did not concede in the group stage. They are one of 5 teams ever to do that. But the story of the night was South Africa coming from bottom of the group with the least likely odds to move on, moving to the top, and doing so with a 75th minute goal.
It took me by surprise, because I thought go back to the first day of the tournament, I thought South Korea looked so good in the second half of that game against the Czechs. And then they actually looked pretty good against Mexico as well. They obviously lost that game on a goalkeeper error, but it felt like a team that was going to put it together at some point in the group stage. And what better opponent than a South Africa team that had frankly looked overmatched in both of their games, even though they had gotten a point. But South Africa's discipline, they're really smart defensive shape. And I mean, South Korea were more athletic. They're more skillful. They just did not have the final touch in and around the box. And that has been the story of their tournament so far, other than like 15 minutes against the Czechs on day one.
This South Korea team doesn't have bite. That would be my biggest thing.
I think they have
them.
Defensive bite. I don't think they have anything in the attack.
I'll take that. I'll take that. I think it's the attacking bite that I think they miss. And then Son doesn't start. And everybody's talking about that because he's the most well-known player on this team. This South Africa team, I was so impressed how they came in and they just honed in. Like they found where the pressure pockets were going to be. They forced South Korea into those pockets. And then they knew we are going to find not just a couple. We're going to find multiple chances on the break, and we will put away one of them. The possession was almost 70% in favor of South Korea, and we have seen this type of game time and time again in the World Cup, but South Africa was able to find that one moment. And, kudos to Tyler Terrence. He was like, he knew that this was going to be the chance because of the way that the play was developing, and he kind of called it even before the goal went in the back of the net. I loved that from him. And what a performance from South Africa. And the celebrations afterwards just bring joy to your heart because this team did something that they've never done before.
Moremi comes off the bench for South Africa. It's basically his second touch of the game going down that left line. And it was a good breakout moment, but in the end, he and then eventually the finisher is Hope, right? Maseko. They have everything left to do in terms of the ball down the line is you're even, and he has to get to the end line and then the hard cutback, which kills two defenders. And then the cross comes in and Hope Maseko brings the ball down, and there's not really an angle there, but he cuts the shot across his hips, and he sneaks it into the near post when the defender is lunging to block a far post shot, and I think the goalkeeper is anticipating it. So it wasn't huge openings.
No.
It was not an easy chance. It's a
moment of
high-pressure
brilliance.
moment. And then from there on, I thought South Africa saw it out pretty confidently. You saw Rowan Williams, who's the star of this team in goal, immediately comes over to Hugo Bruce when they score, and they're talking through like, okay, what happens now?
We parked the bus.
We
parked the bus. That's what happens now.
We do the thing we've been doing the whole time. And on the South Korea side of things, this was the energy coming into the World Cup.
Yeah.
Ji-sung Park had said, we are not good enough. There are huge fatal flaws in the way we are managing our national team as well as the future of the sport in our country. And I thought it was, listen, I'm not an expert. From the outside, I'm like, I don't know, a little harsh. And then game one against Czechia, and I was like, oh, it feels very harsh. Like they're active. They were pulling Czechia apart. They were finding gaps. They were creating
that goal
chances.
in Bamwang scored against Czechia is still one of my favorite goals of the tournament. 25 passes and that finish. It was beautiful, and it's like, oh, that's who South Korea are. I was wrong.
And then sitting in the broadcast booth after this game was Ji-sung Park on the call saying, we got to stop making the same mistakes we've been making since 2014. And a lot of it is mentality stuff, not understanding game states, not understanding how to manage game states. I think some of it is guaranteed spots where guys sort of feel locked in and there's not as much pressure. And I think there is maybe a larger issue to talk about in Korea when you push players out into Europe, when you keep them in the K-League, and sort of what they can become in terms of pieces for the national team. But it is amazing because there's a 91% chance they go through to the next round, and yet they are having a day of reckoning right now.
Yeah, the big one, I don't know if it's the big one, but it does strike me that very few of the players on this team are the focal points of their club team. Lee Kang-in in particular, it's like, oh, great, you're on the roster at PSG. Like, you should be running the show at a smaller team. And you could see, I don't want to say they were afraid of the ball. They weren't. But none of them.
But they're afraid to take risks with it.
Yeah. Yep. And then I put some of that on the manager as well because there were, they didn't look like they were drilled against a low block. They didn't have many ideas, and that's not players, right? That is like, okay, in training, here's what it's going to look like when we're on the ball going against a back five that's defending in the goalkeeper's lap. They had none of that.
Which is interesting to me because you would think the South Korea team would have drilled that on the opposite side. Like they would know how to revert to a lower block if they needed to hold out a win because they're so meticulous and so detail oriented. So you have to attack that in training too, but it felt like they didn't have any answers.
You go back to Jurgen Klinsmann's going to get his mention, losing to Jordan in the Asian Cup, which is how Hung Min becomes the manager, and that ends up being they couldn't break down a low block. They gave up chances in transition. And Jordan, a team we've seen at this World Cup perform, but not at an elite level and never with the ball, knocks them out. It was Jordan's furthest run in an Asian Cup ever, and it was beating South Korea in the quarterfinals.
And historically, South Korea has not won the Asian Cup in 65 years. It's been generation upon generation, and they always lose to, not always, but usually lose to a minnow playing a low block, and they just have not figured out how to get the key.
And the potential for this World Cup gets worse with Japan playing pretty well. They're big rivals, and the potential for them to push through. But for South Africa, I texted Keon last night, who hosted our South African bio episode coming into it, and he said, I can die happy now based off the victory and their ability to get through to the knockout rounds. The first time ever in South Africa's history that they will go to the knockout rounds. As I said, the lowest odds to get there when the World Cup, when the day opened, and they end up with a spot in the second place in the group. They will head to LA. They will face off against Canada in LA. Mama Joy feeling it in this one. She was in the crowd, bringing the energy. And I think everyone is a big Mama Joy fan. You saw the celebrations after the game. Now, on the flip side, for South Africa, they got a little bit of help because if Czechia had a better goal differential and ended up on 4 points, which everyone had checked them off for because Mexico has nothing to play for, they will go through. But Mexico and Javier Aguirre say, not today, not today. A 3-0 victory. Mexico goes perfect in the group stage. As I said, they don't concede a goal. One of the huge storylines is that Gilberto Mora gets his first World Cup start, just 17 years old. The other one, Memo Ochoa, at 40 years old, makes his World Cup debut in this one, ends up being his 4th World Cup to appear in, 6th that he is on the roster for. So we got both ends of the spectrum in this one.
Yeah, and it was scenes in Mexico. I thought in Mexico City, I felt like that first half was not a throwaway, but it
not the most entertaining soccer.
Yeah, and going into halftime, it felt like this Mexican squad knew what was on the line as far as, okay, we don't have just a chance to do something we've not done in all 3 of the group stage games, but we also have a chance to really find a way to ignite this country when we have potentially a couple more games in Mexico City, right?
They'll would now play round of 32, and if they win, round of 16.
Yeah. It felt like to me that second half was a statement.
In Mexico City, where you're not allowed to drink on game days because they ruined the city so much after game 2 that there was the government put a ban in yesterday for alcohol past 4 p.m. Yeah.
That's hardcore.
Yeah.
A lot of respect.
Yeah.
And by the way, the plaza, still packed. Yeah. People are partying. Also, I had soupy stuff in their house.
Yeah.
But
I'm sure they had a well-stocked
flask technology was available in Mexico City.
And I thought you mentioned Mora. I thought he was good, and he found ways to find that final pass. But this Mexico team shows you a little bit of their depth, and they needed to. I like how we're kind of eating our words in both the last couple days, first with Portugal, now with Mexico. We're saying, okay, Quinones shouldn't start. He starts, he gets a goal. It's kind of what you want.
Not because he's not good, because you're protecting him, because he scored a goal, because he's
and
the most influential player.
He's not speedy, but he has that quick quick twitch muscles, which you want to protect that because you need him in these next games. I love that he gets a goal. This team just feels like they're meshing at the right moments, which is exactly what you want. And I thought the midfield worked, even though the midfield hadn't been the same midfield for the other parts of the tournament.
I think they're still kind of looking. I think part of what we saw in this game was, they got wins in the first 2 games. They didn't play well in either one, really, other than maybe the first half hour against South Africa. And I think Aguirre is still trying to find the right mix of players. So you had Edson back in central midfield, D-mid. You had Mora getting the start. Quinones trying to unlock him and get him, really more confident in front of goal, because he's been a little desperate, I thought. And maybe getting that, Rondo style tap in goal off the scrum is what he needed. So Mexico did their job. They are through with 9 points. They're getting 2 more games in Mexico City, as you said. This still does not feel like a team that's clicking and that knows what its best 11 is. And again, we need to reiterate, this is not the old style 2006 or 2010 version of Mexico that was going to have so much of the ball and play beautiful soccer. This is a sub 50% possession team against almost anybody who's going to be left in this tournament. And the Chavez goal, I think, is like the platonic ideal of a Mexican goal at this point. And it's just jarring sometimes to look at that and to think how different they are from what they used to be.
I would like for it to be stated that I said Mateo Chavez should start yesterday, so I got that one right.
Okay,
And he scored
perfect.
the opening goal. I would
You're
like
right.
that to be on the record.
David, we got to get a scoreboard.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
do, because I'm getting dinged out the gate
I was
here.
getting dinged,
Well,
too.
you're
I ding it
self-dinging.
myself.
Yeah, I know. Don't loop me in on this.
Okay, I won't. I'm sorry.
But yeah, huge moments for Mexico. Obviously, still trying to figure things out a little bit, but what a better way to do it than to do so with a victory and to have your team rolling through. Gilberto Moritz, so they do the like intro things where everyone does their thing, and Gilberto Moritz is like a pimple-faced 17-year-old kid who's like, and you're like the best soccer player on the field. It is wild. I think part of Mexico's results so far, there is zero doubt in my mind, this is the worst group at the World Cup. South Korea and South Africa were going to be the worst second place teams. Czechia clearly showed what they showed in qualifying, which was incapable of being in possession, looking for set piece goals at best, but not in a dominant way in which they really control game states. I'd say this in probably Group G with Iran, Belgium, New Zealand. I think those are the two weakest groups, which is funny because they will end up against each other at some point. So great for everyone involved there. And I think you saw it play out throughout this, that the gap was small, not because everyone's good. The gap was small because everyone made mistakes, self-inflicted mistakes, and put themselves in bad spots. But congratulations to South Africa, and obviously a perfect start for Mexico in this one. We will talk a little bit about South Korea's chances to go forward as one of the best third-place teams as we get through these groups. But let's roll into our next group here in Group B. And this is Switzerland, Canada, Bosnia and Herzegovina, and Qatar. This is also our North American soccer segment presented by Soccer.com. Carry the crest as you represent your team this summer. You'll find the widest selection of World Cup gear at Soccer.com. You get a free Goal Club membership with the purchase of any World Cup jersey using code KICKBACK. Goal Club, one of the longest running membership programs in American soccer. And U.S. jerseys are kind of selling out everywhere. Like Nike is sold out. So you want to support a team, you live on the West Coast, maybe you're in LA, you're going to go to this game now because Canada is coming to the US, or you just want to support a fun soccer team, Canada might be the jersey for you to buy. So make sure to use Kickback when you go and purchase it.
I got one.
You can't have what Jordan has, and Jordan wants you to know that at all times. Yeah, it is the way it is. But we came into this group and it felt very straightforward. Bosnia wins. They beat Qatar. They will be through. On the flip side, if Qatar had won on 4 points, they would have been through. And it was a playoff game for first place in the group between Canada and Switzerland. And Switzerland comes out with the 2-1 victory. There is a lot of angst north of the border today for a couple different reasons. Some is directed at FIFA and scheduling, which we will get to. But let's start with the team. Doyle, there are obvious injuries. Alphonso Davies, we now know, was just a decoy the whole time. Mm-hmm. Shocker. We all knew he wasn't going to play. They said he'd play the whole time, and he didn't play. Moise Bombito, obviously injured. Clearly, Steven Eustachio carrying a knock, doesn't get the start in this one. What do you make of what you saw from Canada?
I thought they were just as good as Switzerland, and if Maxime Crepeau doesn't have a howler, then they get out of there with a 1-1.
Yeah.
And we knew that goalkeeper was going to be an issue for Canada going into this tournament. Crepeau,
Milan Borjan not walking through that door with sweatpants on.
And look, Crepeau and Dane St. Clair, it was a coin flip, but I've heard that actually Dane St. Clair has been carrying a little bit of a knock. So it is Maxime Crepeau's job to lose, and he might have taken a step towards losing it with that performance. Overall, I thought Canada looked, really pretty good, especially in that second half.
Yeah.
The game was not over at 2-0 down. Like, they really came storming back, and they had their chances to equalize. I do think it reiterates, like, play two forwards at all times and just play boom ball and like lean into the identity. Mm-hmm. And I thought it was weird that they maybe went away from that a little bit in the first half, playing more of a mid block. And it's like, that's not who you are. It's a Jesse Marsch team. push upfield and make the game as chaotic as possible. And if they do that, they have a chance against anybody. But I was more encouraged than not by this performance.
So one of the questions with Marsh at the national team level was, can you get a team cohesive enough to be a high-pressing team, to be a difference maker? Obviously, Ralph Ragnick in Austria is the other example right now. And I felt this was a great time to do it because you don't have to qualify for a World Cup. You had a bunch of chances to test it. There has not been a moment in this World Cup where it felt suffocating for the other team. And I don't know if that's the nature of international soccer. I don't know if I'm wrong.
I thought it felt pretty suffocating against Qatar. I thought it...
Oh, well, sorry.
I thought it felt pretty suffocating.
Sorry, against fully professional teams.
Well, I thought it felt pretty suffocating the second half against Bosnia and Herzegovina. And I thought at times in the second half it felt suffocating
but all
against
of that
Switzerland.
is direct balls and like game states. It didn't feel like high pressing. We can't get out. We can't build.
No,
the second line.
Go back and rewatch it because we have different views on this.
And one of my issues with some of that is Promise David scores the goal, and there's a lot of like shouts for him to start. He's very slow. Like he doesn't close down.
And, well, he ripped his muscle off his bone like 3 months ago, man. Like he's only getting healthy
This
again.
is his third game back from injury.
Yeah.
And which is a lot of the story with a lot of this team. But one of the guys we should mention is Nathan Saliba will obviously step in for Ismail
What a
Kone.
touch. My God.
The assist is maybe the best play of the World Cup so far.
Yeah, we were watching it at the Canuck. Shout out to the Canuck here in New York City. That was really fun. Yeah. The ground was shaking when Canada scored that goal, so they were celebrating like the Canadians know so well how to do. The touch on that, I think I looked at you and I was like, that's one of my favorite goals of the tournament, just because it was so silky to bring the ball back to the opposite side, get the cross off. The promising thing for me for this Canadian team, the second half was much better. And yes, I do think they need to be more direct, but it was the choices at when to go direct that I felt like were off in the first half. They were playing into a 1v1 situation instead of that was tucked in almost in the half space, instead of making sure Buchanan is all the way wide and overplaying the ball. Like if you're going to play that, you have to play it in behind the back line. And I felt like in the second half,
they kept playing it for him to like come back to challenge the header.
Yes. And in the second half, I think this Switzerland team was a little bit more aggressive in how they pressed. So they squeezed to one side of the field and actually allowed Canada to have the isolation a little bit better in the channels on either side. And that helped them in gaining, not necessarily making a play from those, but then repressing and regaining higher up on the field. The majority of Canada's opportunities come from inside the box. They had, 13 shots. Mm-hmm. Only 2 of them were outside the box, which to me is a really good indication that your chance creation is there. And I think that's why you were saying, Doyle, that this could have been a 1-1 game. The goal against that second goal was just, this is a tournament of moments, and unfortunately it's good moments and it's poor moments. And we saw that a lot yesterday.
We did, but it sucks that they lost and now they have to leave Canada and go to LA. Playing South Africa in Los Angeles is not a disaster for this team.
This is what I said coming out of it. Like it's probably going to be the most comfortable round of 32 game anyone gets lined up with. There's not going to be a huge crowd advantage for South Africa, and the quality of soccer they've played has been pretty low, and that's not the worst case scenario. But here's the frustration from everyone. Let's dig into it now, which is the way this tournament was set up. Out of Group B, which was in Canada, the second place team moves to the U.S., and out of Group A, which is in Mexico, the second place team moves to the U.S. But there are other games happening in Canada and Mexico, knockout games for other groups that actually may have to travel into those countries to play those games. And so the frustration I saw, KJ on One Soccer complaining about this one. He's been beating this drum for a year and a half now since the schedule came out, and many other people have said it, is why wouldn't you have the second place teams from those two groups play in the same country? One, because it could have been the hosts, and you end up in a situation where the hosts, okay, you finish second place, which is not like the worst mistake in the world. Like, I don't think, for all of what Canada had on the line yesterday, I don't think they killed themselves by putting together 4 points from the group stage of the World Cup. They don't get an opportunity to play in their host country. When Canada takes the field on Sunday, they'll be the first World Cup host country to play a game outside their country, because the only opportunity for this to ever have happened was if South Korea had made the World Cup final in 2002 and they lost, and then they played the third place game in South Korea as well. That's the frustration for Canada fans right now, is it felt like it was not properly put together to be set up to give the best advantage to a host country, where at other World Cups, or maybe you could argue for the US, it feels like they've done them the favors. And that's what has been a lot of the conversation around Canada.
I'm going to zag. It's probably cheaper if you're Canadian to fly to Los Angeles and get tickets to that game in Inglewood than it would be.
Yeah, but it's CAD versus USD, so you got to deal with that.
True, that's true. I didn't factor in the conversion. That, like, if these tickets were in Vancouver or Toronto, whereas take a few days in sunny LA. It's a nice little trip.
The other side of this will be, so Canada will play against South Africa. They will then, if they were to win, face off against the winner of Group F and Morocco. Yeah. Group F is Japan and Netherlands. Now, at the round of 16, it's murderer's row. Anyway, if they'd won the group, they'd probably be playing Colombia if Colombia were to win through. But it would be in Vancouver, but it doesn't get easier.
No.
And there's a side of this. If the U.S. had fallen to third place, there was a pretty good shot they were going to end up in Vancouver. Now, third place is harder to predict than second place, and I think that's the frustration for people coming out of this. But it seems like an odd decision to have more knockout games in the host countries that you didn't have lined up out of the host countries' groups to automatically move them. But also, Canada had a chance to tie yesterday and to clinch first place.
It's also FIFA.
Oh, that's a good one. I forgot about that one.
So,
today,
being odd, you know.
Today, I am Canadian. Today,
Thanks,
I am
Johnny.
South African. Actually, I'm super hyped for both those countries, so vibing it for sure. So that's Group B action. Did not talk a lot about Bosnia. We will dig into them as we do our preview for the U.S. against Bosnia game, which is, as I said, is 99.9% decided. They went out against Qatar, who are, as I have said many times, the worst team in this World Cup. Took them a little bit, scored some stunning goals in this one. Begovic with a gorgeous strike from distance. The Bosnia crowd, on point.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen them. They marched through
Yes.
Inglewood on the way to
Yes.
SoFi. It's not really a stadium you walk to. And the Bosnians
In
were like,
blue.
we're good.
In blue.
So they'll be coming back, it seems like, for that. Oh, no, sorry. That one will be at Levi Stadium.
Yeah.
So gird your loins, South Bay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's
I don't
not
know
even
if it's
San
a gird
Jose.
your loins situation, but, you know, yes.
Well, it'll be the first time anyone's walked
It's
on
on the
any of
border.
those sidewalks
Yeah.
ever, considering where that stadium
I
is.
did
that's
walk
true.
to the game, so I could show them my route.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Jordan will be your tour guide because
If you
Jordan
need
played
one.
there twice.
If you need one.
Yeah. You didn't go to the Jordan game.
I didn't go to the Jordan.
They played in that stadium
I
twice.
know.
You went to that stadium.
It's
Really upset
unfortunate.
about the Jordan situation.
It's
All right,
unfortunate.
let's finish up with Group C action. Brazil clinches first place in the group with their victory and their goal differential over Morocco, which became pretty evident as this went along that Morocco probably wasn't going to be able to catch them. But of course, the big show yesterday was the Brazil and Scotland fans marching through Miami. We talked about the Scotland fans taking over my neighborhood and going to the Marlins game a few days ago, the Tartan Army down through Bayfront Park and South Beach and all of that. And then they got to the stadium and that thing happened, which was
Soccer?
it was 99 degrees, 87% humidity. Scotland had to play the Brazilian national team. And it didn't go super well. But before we get into our tactics piece, this was one of the great events, and I think it lived up in terms of environment. The yellow, the blue, the bagpipes, this was a vibe.
Yeah, it really was. And I think anticipated as one of the best clashes of different cultures in this World Cup. It was so much fun. The thing that I've liked most of just being at some of these games is everybody is so proud of where they're from, but they're really accepting of the other cultures too, and they're just you want to experience what these other countries have, and I think we got it best from both of these fan bases. And it's in Miami, and the Brazilians felt right at home, and the Scots are probably buying all the aloe vera that Florida has to offer
But they're
today.
also all moving. People from the UK love Florida. I think they're the people, besides New Yorkers.
Everybody
they're
loves
the people
Miami.
who love it the
Like-
most. Not everyone. I would like
That's
that.
true. That's true. I mean, from foreign countries, they love coming here.
Absolutely fair. But it was a wild affair. Incredible game. Neymar made his World Cup debut. My guy on my Golden Boot team, Vinicius, had a couple goals. And for a little bit more about that one, you gave us a nice little tactical piece about this. So Football Manager, kindly sponsoring our tactical pieces here. Let's dig in a little bit more with Mr. Matt Doyle.
Vini Jr. is one of the most dangerous wingers on the planet, but Brazil have struggled to use him properly, and under Carlo Ancelotti, the solution has come from an unexpected place. The possession setup makes sense on paper. Matheus Cunha drifts wide right or off the front line, flexing the shape between a 4-3-3 and a 4-4-2 diamond, opening up different pockets and channels for Vini. Bruno and Paquetá sit narrow, keeping traffic central. The center back has a real dilemma then. Follow Cunha and abandon his zone, or hold and let him go free. What can't he do? Get out and help on Vini. That indecision is the gap. Except in practice, it hasn't quite clicked. The theory is sound, but the spacing isn't there. The combination play in the final third still feels disjointed. Vini's isolated at the wrong moments. The timing's a beat off. Where it has worked, out of possession. Brazil's high press has been the unlikely key. Force a mistake high up the pitch, and suddenly Vini's running at a defense that isn't set. No time to organize, no cover, no one able to get across, or he's ghosting off the back shoulder. That's his best mode, not a structured build-up, not patient combination play, just space, a backpedaling defender, and no help coming. Ancelotti finds the role that sets players free. In possession, he's still searching for it with Brazil. But in transition, in those chaotic moments the press creates, Vini looks exactly like the best version of himself.
Football Manager 26 International Mode is available now. You can download on Steam or your favorite console, PlayStation, Xbox, or Nintendo Switch. And right now, you can take advantage of a sale till July 9th, 50% off. So you can set up your team. Tommy Scoops, of course, right now is playing a Charlton save that while he travels up and down the West Coast. Nothing could be further from Charlton than LA, but spiritually he is there. And I did see he signed David Vasquez on a free after San Diego let him go. So Tom's having a good week right now with his group. Doyle, it was funny because you sent this piece over last night, and I had been in a conversation with someone where I said, I think Brazil could win the World Cup against the ball. Yeah. I don't think they can break teams down, but then you gave voice to the thing I thought I understood, and now I understand it even better, which is in transition, pressing. I mean, Ryan put every piece of effort on the field against the ball, similar to what you've talked about with Rafinha.
Yeah, and this is what the Brazilian press corps was so furious about, is that they're winning in this not aesthetically pleasing way, and it's just driving them insane. But this is what Carlo Ancelotti does. He gets the team to buy in defensively. I think they're always structured really well, even though he never talks like that as a manager. He always talks about like, oh, the players win the game. It's very Bruce Arena coded.
And you mean old man?
Yeah, thank you. And it's honestly. It looks like Real Madrid. It looks like Real Madrid of the last couple of years of Ancelotti when he unlocked Vini and Benzema up top. And it was just about that partnership and not giving up goals, and that's who Brazil have become.
Do you think that's a part of it? Is we were talking about this yesterday. This isn't like a Brazil of yesteryear where they have all these big
that's
stars.
Always part of it with them.
Yeah.
It's always part of it with them.
You have to find a way to adapt and figure out a way to win these games, because your country is counting on you winning the World Cup. Like there's no doubt in my mind that Brazilians think that they're going to win the World Cup, or they demand that out of this group. And if you don't have, in years past, players like Neymar, you have that in Vini, but they had number of players in different positions that could be those players to be the flashy, be the aggressive, look a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. This is a pretty good solution to that.
I agree with you, and I think if they're holding the cup at the end of this tournament, then the fans will agree with you.
Also, 94. It wasn't beautiful.
Correct. And there was like a lot of Sturm und Drang about that in the fan base, and then 2002 happens, and everybody's like, oh, this, they're always going to be compared to 2002 and 1970. Always. And this team, even if they win, are going to fall short about that, or short of that. But if they win, the complaints will just be for aesthetic reasons, very obviously.
Yeah.
And, there's a reason that Real Madrid fans love Carlo Ancelotti. And the difference is Real Madrid fans have never been particularly precious about the style of game that team plays.
And I wouldn't say 2022 was gorgeous from Argentina. And guess what Argentina's been celebrating for 4 years? The fact that they won the World Cup.
Yeah.
And I think for Brazil, that's where Ancelotti always made sense
Who
to me.
was the last team?
That was
I guess
gorgeous?
2014 Germany played gorgeous soccer. 2010 Spain, I loved it. I know a lot of people didn't love tiki-taka, but I certainly did.
Yeah, I would say 2010 Spain,
Yeah.
outside of the World Cup, played
Fair.
open, flowing more, but the tiki-taka was elite and fun to watch and engage with.
And then 2002, obviously not 2006 Italy, but 2002 Brazil.
But that's kind of we're talking about it. Like, it is really hard to, one, win the World Cup, but two, to do it in a beautiful style.
It's never a team that plays the
can't-
the soccer,
yeah,
or
like
the
you-
soccer you want that wins it. And
how
that's
many
just
of these
reality.
it
games
was
have we-
3 times in 4 tournaments from 2002 to 2014.
2002 to 2014. No, because Spain, to win the World Cup, won 1-0 games where the tiki-taka possession
but
kept
high
them from
scoring.
having to defend.
We're going to get into a philosophical.
we are.
And you're trying to keep it to 45 minutes. We're going to take this to another show.
We'll move on now, people.
Morocco, obviously, we knew the Haiti result.
Yeah.
You talked about the Haiti goal. You talked about everything it meant. I think you saw it in the crowd. One of the Haiti fans, when they scored that second goal, they cut to him, and he was like, "What am I looking at?" Unbelievable
A
scene.
Morocco fan was
Morocco
celebrating
fan
it.
was doing yeah.
Yeah,
it was.
too.
I
It was
mean,
like-
it was a while, and then Morocco scores right
Yeah.
after
Yeah.
to equalize. Morocco scored some gorgeous goals as well. I think overall they'll be happy with the group stage they had. Amrabat comes off hurt late in this game. That's a little bit something to worry about. And as we get into the next round of games, we will talk through suspensions and injuries and all that stuff as we get into the games. But I think overall, they will take what they got. I think it was pretty obvious coming to this one after only beating Scotland 1-0. On goal differential was going to be hard for Morocco to win this group, and it felt like they got some other players some minutes. Guys
Yeah.
score goals, you feel pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely. I do think. I mean, one of those goals from Haiti is you're gonna if you can shoot that and score that, like you take the goal. But I don't think they're gonna be pleased with that. Like you can't give up 2 goals against the teams that you're going to be playing in these next rounds of games.
Yeah. So let's dig into third place now, because Scotland finishes this tournament in third place in this group. They finish on 3 points, and they do so on a -3 goal differential. And now this is something, one, that's new, which is Scotland will go back to Charlotte, to their training center, and they will just sit and wait. I cannot imagine what it will be like every single match window in the Scottish group. Like, are you going and sitting and watching? Do you have the live scores up? And here's the story to understand. We learned a lot yesterday. We tried to lay it out a bit before the game started. Now we've learned a lot. So Bosnia, on 4 points, they have clinched their spot into the next round. South Korea finishes on 3 points, and Scotland finish on 3 points. South Korea has a -1 goal differential. Scotland has -3. So South Korea moves in front of them. As you start to go down the groups that are going to step on the field, you've got games where minimum points have to occur. When Australia plays Paraguay, someone has to leave with some amount of points. Because of where Scotland's goal differential sits, they're actually a very good barometer of the line. My assumption is they will finish 8th or 9th in the standings for these third place teams. So you take a look at what we have on screen, and I can talk you through it. Australia and Paraguay already tied on 3 points. So worst case scenario, Paraguay loses. Their goal differential would have to go below what Scotland's is. They currently sit on -2. That's a hopeful one for Scotland. Otherwise, Sweden are already on 3 points with 0 goal differential. Croatia are on 3 points with -1. Austria will play against Algeria. Those two teams are already on 3 points. Algeria, if they were to lose by 1 goal, would go to -3 and tie Scotland. And then you start to get into goals scored and you start to get into fair play. But where we sit, in my estimation, 6 teams are already above Scotland, whether because one of the teams has to finish on 4 points in third place or because of what I expect the results to be or the fact that they're already sitting on 3 points. So that's the line for everyone else to play over the next few days. If you can get to 3 points and less than -3 goal differential, you're probably going through to the next round. If you get to 4 points, you've locked your spots. And the big ones to watch for a team like Scotland are going to be Senegal, Iraq. Can one of those teams not finish on a better goal differential because they're both on 0 points? Egypt is a must win. You need Egypt to defeat Iran so that potentially Iran can stay underneath you as a third place team. And then we have it up Group G, then New Zealand or Belgium are the only ones to jump you. And then you would remain as one of the better third place teams. A miracle would be if Uruguay or Cabo Verde finish below that 3-point line, which feels very unlikely. And then one of the big deciders is going to be if DR Congo can beat Uzbekistan. DR Congo with a win would move to 4 points. They'd clinch their spot. Uzbekistan has been fine, not great. And that's sort of one of those holes where they are one of the few groups that has a team in third place already under that 3-point line that could finish there. But this is going to be what we're watching. So in my mind right now, we've got 6 teams already at 3 points and above. 7, I guess, if you include Scotland. And Scotland needs to be top 8 to get through, and it's going to be a lot of scoreboard watching.
Our guy, Tutul Rahman on Blue Sky, actually has a tweet explaining it all. They need 4 of the following not to happen. Ecuador and Curaçao to not win. Egypt beat Iran. DR Congo to not win. Cape Verde and Spain both win. Senegal tie Iraq. Australia beat Paraguay by 2+ goals. Austria beat Algeria by 2+. Ghana beat Croatia by 2+. And Japan beat Sweden by 4+.
Yeah.
4 of those things out of the list of 10.
Yeah. You guys just said it both, and I didn't write any of it down. So you're going to have to do it again tomorrow.
Well, you'll listen to it. Don't worry. You'll keep listening to the show.
But the thing is, there's a lot of options. And I think for this Scottish team and the fans, they're going to be hopeful that a few of
they
those
don't sound hopeful. If you go on Scottish,
Of course they don't.
Steve Clark after the game on the field, he was asked a couple of questions. He was very short. I don't mind. I'm someone who you should talk to media. He spoke. He was upset. That's fine. I think he's a large part of why Scotland are in this situation. They have played negative soccer for 7 years, and every major tournament, everyone loves their fans. So we do previews, and everyone tells us they're going to be competitive, and I say they're not. And then curveball, they're not.
Right.
And when you watch this tournament and you see what South Africa accomplished, but more what Cape Verde has accomplished, what DR Congo has accomplished, there are other ways to play the game. And it's not just possession. You don't have to have 55% possession. Scotland never expand the game. They never add to the attack. They never push numbers in. Everything is an early deep cross and a hopeful cross. And I think their fans, when Steve Clark got the extension, were very upset about it. The third question to him on the field was, now you go and watch. He goes, I'm not even thinking about that. And I think he said post-game, we're going home.
He did.
Yeah, which is a Rex Ryan move. Yeah. And then the Jets made the playoffs that year. So watch out, everybody.
I think they're probably just going to go back to Boston. I think they were having a good time. Win, lose, or draw up there.
One of the things on social media was someone says, I hope one of these half Scottish American kids that's about to be born out of Boston is a decent defender because these 4 guys suck.
Those weren't the words they used. No. They used some very Scottish words.
I cleaned it all up. You're welcome, Scotland. But yeah, everyone will be scoreboard watching now, and that is the line. 3 points. -2 goal differential. If you can get to that line, there's a good chance you're going through to the next round of the World Cup. And let's check in with the teams that are on tap today to figure out what we are going to see. Let's start with Group E. And to do so, we've got Curaçao versus Ivory Coast and Ecuador versus Germany. But let's take a quick look as we take a look at the standings here. Germany locked in their spot on 6 points. Ivory Coast in second on 3. And then Ecuador and Curaçao hoping to get a result and jump up. Now, if Curaçao, with their terrible goal differential, if they were to go and beat Ivory Coast, the 4 points would be enough.
Yeah.
So goal differential doesn't matter there.
In that situation,
if they draw, they probably won't get to the line
3
anyway.
points.
So the wins for any teams today, whether it's Ivory Coast, whether it's Ecuador, whether it's Curaçao, would lock their spot in, probably in second place, into the next round. So it's very simple there for these teams. But I want to take a look at this Ivory Coast national team, and I want to do so by talking about one of the other young players. So we have our Level Up presented by Football Manager 26. Discovering the future stars of the sport is one of our favorite things. And we did so to start this tournament with Jan Diamande. We highlighted him. He went out, and he balled out. He has been one of the stars of the tournament. And I think we are looking at another one here in Christ Olai, who has came into the starting lineup for that Germany team in central midfield. He was part of the formation change from 5 in the back to 4 in the back, adding another body into midfield, just 20 years old, and he was able to help boss that first half for this team. And Germany, when they had no ideas, had to bring in Undav. They went more direct because they could not play through this midfield. And we've talked about Frank Kessie and what he brings and the composure, but the slow nature of his game. he needs runners. He needs help. And Ulai, I think, is going to be one of those players. He's already at Trabzonspor. This is one of the guys I think will get a big bump off this World Cup. He will get a big move. And you can see from his Football Manager profile, very flexible to play in pretty much any position in midfield, which is why it's even easier for a team to bring him in and say, whatever this guy does for us next year, we know he can be a factor.
Yeah, he'll, at the very least, he's going to get a move back to a Ligue 1 team. He was at Bastia, spent 1 year at Trabzonspor. Now Trabzonspor are going to sell him for 5 times what they paid for him because he's been awesome.
71% dual win rate against Germany.
Yeah.
So if you're a Bundesliga team, I don't know, maybe one to look at and see what he can do. I thought it was heartbreaking for Ivory Coast to not get the win. And by the way, of course, international mode now available, 50% off through July 9th. So go get your Football Manager. Boom, right there, holding up the finger. I thought Ivory Coast devastated to not get a result against Germany. They should have won the game with the opportunity they had late. Now they turn around, and this will be the first game where they will have more possession. And they will have to carry the game. And so I'm curious to see how they handle that responsibility as well as this matchup.
That is the big question in this one. I do think the talent differential should be like Eli Room's not going to have another 15 save performance in him. I think
if he does, he's getting another 1 million fans.
Yeah, that's true.
Do it for the gram, baby. Do it for the gram.
I expect Ivory Coast to solve this.
And it's the you've already seen it twice from this Curaçao team. So you're going to be able to really dig into, okay, here are some moments where we can get their 3 center backs a little bit stretched and pulled into the midfield. And then it's a runner from the midfield and behind. And this Ivory Coast team has the willingness of that midfield. We just talked about their runs off the ball and how they can hurt a team. So with what they've been able to see already, this kind of sets up really well for them to be their last game of the tournament. But who knows? This Curaçao team is really surprised us throughout the entirety of the tournament, and sometimes you just go on those types of runs.
But yeah, guy painted in full blue at this game either way, which is vibes that I love. On the Germany-Ecuador side, for Ecuador, they've yet to score a goal. They've put their backs up against the wall. They need to win. As I laid out, if they draw, they probably are not going through to the next round. They were many people's dark horse coming into the tournament. Best defensive team in the world in qualifying. That part has been evident. They've conceded 1 goal across the 2 games. That 1 goal might be the thing that puts them out, though. They need to create chances. They need to score goals. And Germany in a situation, we're going to talk about the U.S. in a moment, where rotation seems obvious. But, Doyle, you were talking a little bit before this show, and we'll do it again with the U.S., of like, if someone succeeds in rotation, does it actually make lineup decisions a little tougher? And this is a Germany team, while they've gotten the results, maybe haven't played up to the quality. And do you start to put undue pressure on guys that you thought would be starters?
No, I mean, I don't think it's undue pressure. I think it's good pressure. You want to have guys still fighting for jobs and I don't want to say feeling unsettled, but feeling like they have to keep increasing their level. And Germany have not played particularly compelling soccer other than Denise Undav. Shout out Suze, what a great pick from the Golden Boot draft.
On the Golden Boot list, top 6 scorers, all of them are on one of our teams. So I feel pretty good about what we've done so far.
Right. But it this is, Nagelsmann has some stuff to figure out. And I think he's going to use this game for that reason. And I assume he's going to be saying exactly that to the guys in that locker room.
One of the things they have to figure out, Nicolo Schlotterbeck out for the tournament, starting center back. So I assume Rudiger gets to start. My guess is they rotate both center back positions, and they're trying to figure out going forward who is Taz's partner. And I think it's probably a tryout for both guys to get that opportunity, and it will be a big one for this Germany team. Germany will move to Boston. That is locked in. They will play a third-place team coming into that one. Just a quick little drop-in for all of you, because I know people in my area are talking about this a ton because of the potential to sell some tickets to it. But there is a decent chance that it's a France-Germany or a Norway-Germany round of 16 match in New Jersey coming up in about a week or 2. So that one...
France-Germany, is there any history with that one?
I don't think so. Yeah.
Nothing off the top of my head.
Yeah, it's just like a bit of a cuisine conversation.
It's the Alsatian Derby.
Listen, and my understanding is the French
Beer
will just throw their hands
wine,
up and walk away. They're not really stressed about this at all. Let's dig into the next group. In Group F, we've got Japan versus Sweden and Tunisia versus the Netherlands. So Netherlands currently sitting in a tie with Japan because they've both put together the same goal differential in their second game. Japan putting a 4-0 win, Netherlands a 5-1 win, and then Sweden got pulled all the way back to that goal differential. So now Japan faces off against Sweden, pretty much a playoff to lock in a spot in the next round. Sweden, if they draw, probably confirms a third place spot. And the Netherlands, as we said, Netherlands, Japan, Sweden, whoever wins this group, they'll face Morocco in the next round.
Whoever wins this group.
Yeah. Do you almost play yourself out of it,
right?
In that scenario,
I mean, I wonder if this ends up being
round of
like this could be the disgrace of Gijón, where it's just like, okay, it makes sense to just play.
So the runner-up plays Brazil.
Yeah, that's not better.
So
that's worse.
Yeah, it might just be the World Cup.
I'd play to win.
Yeah, nice. Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
And I think that's
kind of I mean, just how good some of these teams are playing too into the next round. I know it's a bigger knockout round than we've ever seen, but a lot of these matchups still are ridiculous.
And the nature of the seeding the teams.
Yeah.
Is if you're not one of the seeded teams, you're going to have to go through everyone.
Yeah.
Because you're not in a safe, quote unquote, spot. Not that anything's easy.
Right.
So the nature of it, if you are in Netherlands or Japan, where you are not one of the top seeds in your spot, you're going to have to go through those top seeds. You're going to have to play someone, and you're going to have to do it somewhere. If the winner of this group, I believe, will go to Mexico, and they would play Morocco there, the loser will go to Houston to play against Brazil. So travel both ways, a lot to play for both teams. Japan, I think, obviously coming on pretty strong. This, I think, would be a big performance for them to show Tunisia is not a flash in the pan. Second half against Netherlands is who we really are.
Sweden is terrible.
Agreed.
Like they are not a good side. They just have a couple of really talented attackers.
And they shouldn't play all of them. Isak should start up top. Gorkarez should come off the bench.
You change the formation?
No, the last game they went like 4-5-1 and pushed these. Either way, yes, I would not play both of them up top. I think it's too. I think they need more bodies in midfield to help cover, and I think Isak's your transition opportunity, and Gorkarez is just slow. He creates chances, he scores when he's around the box, but he is a slow player. And then let's finish off with Group D action. 10 p.m. Eastern time. We will be live post-game from this one. The U.S. facing off against Turkey, Paraguay against Australia. The U.S. have clinched the group, and they will, we assume, play Bosnia and Herzegovina on July 1st. In Santa Clara. I saw Tyler.
Canada Day.
Is it?
Yeah.
I saw Santa Clara. I saw Go Broncos.
Go Broncos.
I saw Tyler Adams interviewed yesterday, and he was asked about the yellow cards and playing or not by Sam Borden, and Tyler was like, yeah, I trust the full. It was a long answer, basically like he's not going to play.
No.
And then he goes, but I always want to play, blah, blah, blah. I feel fairly safe to understanding that Tyler's not going to play. Did you learn anything from Mexico and how maybe a coach handles a moment like this? Do you just think for Poch, you just rotate all 11 and you roll it out there?
So I have a feeling from the way, I've talking to people around the camp and the way I think some of it's been reported by Jenny Taft, and then Sam McComber from Blazing Musket says that he's heard that Matt Turner's going to start. And if Matt Turner's if their goalkeeper's going to be rotated, then everybody's going to be rotated. And I frankly think that would be the right call. Obviously, the four guys who are on yellows absolutely should not play. Obviously, Christian Pulisic should play, but not for longer than half an hour. You just want to get some reps for him. But for the rest of it, you might need Mark McKenzie later in the tournament. You will need Ricardo Pepi, Haji Wright. You will need one of Brendan Aronson or Alex Zendejas, Tim Weah, hopefully Christian Roldan, who is nursing a strained quad. Hopefully he can go. You might need him as well. Get them these reps. And also, it's just philosophically, Poch's whole thing has been there are no starters and backups. There's not.
That's true. He has yapped about that.
He's gotten really kind of snippy about it when people have suggested that that's the case.
So
it's
prove
okay,
it.
Yeah, put your money where your mouth is. Make it 1 through 26 instead of 1 through about 14 or so.
I just disagree that I don't think Pulisic should play. I think his injury was worse than they made it seem to be, and just a calf. I just don't think you should. He knows how to play in these types of games. I think he'll be fine. I get what you're saying about not playing any of those players with yellow cards. And there are really good players on this team. And the benefit of switching everybody in a way is all those guys have played a lot of games together because they're playing inter squads as that second group of players. So the combinations between a midfield that would be fully rotated would actually be probably better than just plugging 2 players in with 1 starter. So it's an interesting idea, and I guess we'll all just wait on bated breath to see what Pachi ends up doing here tonight. But I do think that a fully rotated U.S. team can still beat this Turkey team.
I mean, a fully rotated U.S. squad would have, I think, over half the starters from that 5-1 win over Uruguay last November.
What about the 2-1 or 2-0 loss against Turkey last year?
That's true.
Johnny Cardoso, who gave up both goals, will not be there, so maybe they have that going for them. Sorry, I was just checking because the TV numbers from the U.S.-Australia game keep moving up as the reports come. It's above Portugal, but it's still below Paraguay. I'm just trying to get a free meal.
I'm getting lunch. Yeah.
I'm just trying to get a free meal.
I don't know what that is about.
Yeah,
You guys made that?
That's fair. Yeah.
You were eyeballing me when I was talking. I was like, did I say something
you never
super
said anything.
strange?
You would never.
I would never do anything weird.
Yeah, it'll be an interesting one. I think what you saw from the Mexico vibes last night, it has a chance to be really, really fun, right? I think if other guys get goals, you just saw the celebrations from the Mexico players who were starters to go and with Mateo Chavez, celebrate with him, celebrate with the crowd, feel the environment, feel the moment. I would be surprised if there wasn't a decent chunk of Turkey fans at this game in
there was
LA.
A lot. Oh, LA. Yeah. I forget
So
LA.
there would, I mean, there's a lot across the U.S., but especially out in California. And obviously they have nothing to play for except for pride, which is probably pretty great for them at this point because it's been a really, really bad week. On the other side for Australia against Paraguay, it's very simple. Win and you're in. Win and you clinch second place. Draw, Australia will get in as second place. Paraguay will sit on 4 points. This is a Shane McGeown game sort of in the lurking. If Paraguay were to lose this game, they are already on a -3 goal differential, I believe. Sorry, -2. So they would be in a really dangerous spot, sitting right on that line. If Australia were to lose this game, they are currently on a 0 goal differential. So a loss at 1 goal, maybe okay. At 2 goals, you start to sweat. At 3, I don't know how you gave up 3 goals to Paraguay, so you're in your own space right now. And that's going to be the last games of the day. So as I mentioned, we will be live post-game here on the SoccerWise channels. It will come out as a podcast as well. Myself and Matt Doyle will be working on a post-game show coming out of that one as we take a look at the full standings and where things sit right now, and we get ready to welcome in our next guest in this show. But you take a look at where things are for these groups that are going to play today. So Australia, Paraguay tied right now on 3 points in second place. You've got Ivory Coast sitting on that 3 points ahead of Ecuador. And that was that 92nd minute winner, which is, I think, going to be one of those moments you look back on from a World Cup. Not only did it feel like Ecuador's game, they hit the post twice, they hit the crossbar, but it's also one where at some point it felt like a 1-1 draw. And if it was, now Ecuador would be sitting in second place on 2 points. Instead, they're chasing everything. And then in that Netherlands, Japan, Sweden group, bizarre. Sweden wins 5-1. They lose 5-1. Now they sit in third place. As Doyle mentioned, they were the worst team in qualifying. So this is going to be a big moment for them because they would really just save the whole cycle if they can get a result here and move to the next round. Sweden's been camped out down in Texas, as has our guest here right now. We have with us Sam Obaseki for the first time on the show, joining us.
Hey,
You've been down in Texas, hanging out a little bit.
Are
you Texan now?
I don't know if I'm from Texas or I'm from New York.
Give us your best Texan/New York accent. Do 2 different accents.
You know what it is? I'm really bad at accents.
Great, me too.
Okay, me too. Okay, I would have punted it as well.
I've been trying this whole time. I've been like, do I
You
sound
can't
like I'm
even
from New York?
Howdy, y'all.
New York.
Okay. Started
It's
to
the
round
York,
out
you
a
gotta-
little.
yeah, you gotta
Started
get
to
the
round
little-
out a little, yeah.
If you just give it enough tries.
Here would be the issue. If you got the accent, then you'd pronounce stuff wrong like I do, like Florida, and then everyone would make fun of you. So you
Like
probably
it
want
like
to
that.
sit somewhere.
I'll get there. Maybe the next time I come, I'll just come New York accent and I'll do the whole show like that.
But you've come out, you've come to watch the World Cup, to be
Yeah.
around. I know we've chatted a little. You've been to Senegal watch parties here, Mexico. You were down at the England game.
Yeah.
Overall, like, what has the 2 weeks been like so far?
It's been incredible. Like, this is the first time I've been in New York, first time I was in Dallas as well. And I didn't really know what to expect. Obviously, there's conversations around the World Cup and what it was going to be like. But as soon as I landed in New York, I was staying in Times Square for the first few days.
Oh, geez, Louise.
So that was a baptism of fire.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it was nice. Like, and I think a lot of the fans were like coming in, and I think I got there on the day of the Brazil Morocco game.
Yeah.
So
They flooded in, yeah.
It was like something I've never seen before. And then obviously watching a few games, and I was able to go to the England game, watch the France-Senegal game as well. And it's like, once you see all the fans coming from their different nations and how much they just love their teams and how much they're, really supporting them, and no matter what the score lines are as well, it's like, oh, we go again. And that's been incredible. And I was at a watch party yesterday for the Mexico game, and they were celebrating like just getting past the halfway line. They were celebrating things that I've never seen fans celebrate. It's like, okay, we've got a corner. Okay, let's
Trust
go.
me, it's worse when you're in the building and they start passing around the back and they ole, and you're like, this isn't impressive. Stop cheering, but you can't blame them.
Honestly.
But it sucks when your team's the one chasing it.
Exactly. But it was lovely, and yeah, the celebrations that they had from just winning that game. We were out there for hours. They just kept on dragging me into the celebrations. I was dancing with them. I was like, I'm Mexican today. It was great.
Oh my gosh. Stories like that, I think, are going to be the best things that come out of the World Cup. You mentioned this little bit with Mexico. Is there any other untold stories from your adventures that like really are just going to stick with you as like, okay, I didn't expect this moment to maybe be as big as it was, but it's had a lasting impression on me?
I'd say maybe the Argentina fans after the game where Messi scored the brace, and they just didn't leave the stadium.
Were you at that game?
Yeah. So
okay.
I got a last minute ticket, and I was late, so I watched Messi miss the penalty in the cab before I got there.
Stop.
And then as I'm running in, I literally see Messi score the first goal.
You're going down the stairs into your seat.
I'm going down, and I see everyone's like standing up, and then he scores it, and I'm like, oh my gosh! And I was in the cab, I was like, oh, I might be the good luck charm. Let's see if he scores and he comes, and I ended up being that. And then obviously the second goal as well, and seeing that live, and I was talking before about the touch that he took before he tried to dribble basically into the goal, and it's just like, he's still so good.
Yeah.
Like, I was there in the 2022 World Cup, and I went to most of his games, and I'm just so surprised at how incredible he is. And you can just tell that the fans love him so much. Like, they want him to win it so much. And yeah, Argentina fans, you can just see them like all over the place. But one thing that I've loved since being here is the fact that you go into like a bar or somewhere, and all the fans are just sitting together.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who you're supporting. And you don't really get that, especially in England.
No.
When you're watching the Premier League.
Yeah. They're not talking to each other. Exactly. They're not even letting each other in the bar.
Some journalist from Europe was like, oh, the fans aren't separated in the stadium. Oh, like that's going to be an issue because at some point there will be two teams, and maybe we'll see it coming around in the knockout rounds. But I've been in the building for it's just not the vibe at all. Everyone's just so happy to be there.
I think because some people don't understand, when you go to a game in Europe, if you're an away fan, you have your own entrance. You're boxed in. You've got barriers that keep you in your section. Yeah. And as an American going to a game in Europe for the first time, I had never experienced that. And so I think on the other side, they come here and they're like, wait, you guys are all together? Like, this is always how it is? And
but from 2022 to now, they're both World Cups that had consternation coming in, right? For one polar opposite World Cups. One was in a city. Literally. This one's across a continent.
Yeah.
Three countries, and all three countries are bigger than most countries in the world.
Exactly.
And then obviously there's a ton of other issues with the way the stadiums were built in Qatar and a lot of the issues going around politically here. What have you made of the contrast between the two experiences?
I think this experience is, like I said, I didn't know what to expect, but coming out and seeing the different type of communities that are just here anyway.
Right. Yeah.
Like I said, when I was with the Mexican fans yesterday, before I actually went to the France game, I was going to Little Senegal, it was somewhere in Brooklyn, I believe it is.
Up in Harlem. 116th Street.
So I was going there, and as I was on the subway, I was seeing so many Senegalese fans just heading there, and it was just like, there's so many different communities, and I just can't believe how passionate they are. Some of them have never watched football. Like I've spoke to some of them, and they're like, "Oh yeah, never watched, but I'm supporting. I'm supporting my nation,"
cool.
and it's just beautiful to see. And I think that's the biggest difference. There's already loads of communities out here that are supporting, like Colombians, Mexicans, even England fans that have lived out here for years are finally happy that, you know, they get to watch England in the US. And there's so much of that, even in Dallas. Like, I've just been so surprised at so many of the fan experiences all over. It's been beautiful.
Yeah, it is a country of immigrants, and therefore you have a lot of built-in fan bases that already exist. You went to see England. They obviously played against Ghana, 0-0 draw in that one.
Yeah.
What do you make of this England team or the vibe around it?
It's a tough one, because before I got into the tournament, I wasn't the biggest fan of the team, just because I felt that there were certain players that I would have loved to come, just because I think we need.
Okay, tell us who they were.
Cole Palmer.
Well, he is a Chelsea
I'm a
fan.
Chelsea
That
fan.
should be stated.
Oh, I didn't know that, so now I know.
I wanted to see
Okay.
if you'd be able to guess by the players I said.
Oh, yeah, I probably could have.
Cole Palmer, I think Lewis Hall should have come. I think Morgan Gibbs-White, Wharton. But even if you don't pick all of them, I think there's just too many similar players in the side that kind of worries me when we're up against it. Or like we saw against Ghana, there's going to be low blocks and it's going to be a struggle to break some teams down. So if you have a Cole Palmer coming on that can, you know, create chances and score goals, or even like a Wharton who can be that deep line playmaker and pass the ball forward quite fast, it's just different. But I'm still confident. I think Tuchel's a great manager. I love Tuchel. I'm happy that he done it his way. I'm just hoping that it works out. I think the Ghana game was difficult to watch, but I credit Ghana for what they did, because they really, really went for it. It wasn't like they did sit back, but they did have chances as well. And sometimes those nations are going to have to do that in tournaments like this, and it was successful. So, yeah, for England, I hope that he mixes things up a little bit. I think Rashford needs to start. I think hopefully Saka's, you know, warming into the tournament. I know he's like slightly injured as well. And maybe some of the midfielders just growing into their roles a little bit. Like Jude's been great. And I think like the midfielders around him could, you know, help him out a little bit and contribute going forward.
I will say, of the communities that are in the U.S., the Ghana fans after the game, they were like, we won the World Cup. And everyone, I think, lives in the U.S. of the people I saw, but they all obviously are from Ghana. And the lines were hilarious. Of like, we'll see you at the final. Unbelievable. This one moment's like, they thought they'd give us 10. Look where they're at now. Unbelievable moment.
So you were at both the England games?
No, just
the first one.
The first one, yeah.
Okay, so now England, one more game in the group stage, but are you a type of fan who's like looking forward? Are you already looking to see like, okay, this is who we could potentially play? This is the route that we have?
No, I think you just need to take it game by game. And I think the players should have that kind of mindset, because you need to win, and you need to win by a margin that makes you feel comfortable, that makes the manager feel comfortable and the fans. I think the draw made all the doubts and all the doubters that were there before that game say, okay, see what's happening. So give them something less to talk about in a sense. Like say, score a few goals, Harry Kane, you know, start Rashford. Let's get comfortable. Just like the first game, it was like, wow, okay, we've arrived, and then the 0-0, and it's like, okay, you've taken a step back, but it's still a bit early. Like they can still find their way, but I just hope it comes in this game.
Derek wants me to tell you to make sure to eat the mic the whole time you're talking. He wants to feel.
Oh, really?
He
Oh,
wants
my
to
bad.
feel your voice.
Sorry. I'll get a bit closer.
Let me ask you this one, though, because I think we're all going to have these moments we think of. So overall World Cup, is there a moment or a team you fell in love with or a player you fell in love with where when I say, you know, for me, if you bring back past World Cups, you just ask about them, there are specific players or spaces or things you think of, what's going to be your 2026 one as of now?
As of right now?
Yeah.
Oh, and I think it's not even something that's happened on the pitch.
Okay.
It was just Neymar coming on. Like, I'm a big Neymar stan. So
I also am, so I'm glad.
So I was like, when he was coming on, I almost shed a tear. I was just like, Neymar. Like,
that he's back in the team, that he's still around?
Back in the team, that he's fit enough to play. Even when he was playing, there was a few touches that he was making. He's in that mode now where he's not going to be able to contribute as much as he used to.
Yeah.
But he has got the IQ to be able to, you know, bring confidence to the side and do a few things, have a moment of magic. And just seeing him out there, I'm obviously, like I said, I'm a Chelsea fan, so I was gutted that João Pedro wasn't in the team. But knowing that his spot went to Neymar, I was like,
okay, fine.
Okay, I get it. And hopefully he'll be able to contribute. And just seeing the way the Brazilian fans and the players, everyone was just smiling. He was in tears after the game. And it's like those moments you realize it means so much more. He never thought that he would be able to play in another World Cup. And and he's here now. So, yeah.
You said you're a Chelsea fan. As you're watching this, there's got to be like little bits of you that are like, I'd like that guy in a blue jersey.
Yeah.
Anybody that has come to mind that?
The thing is, when I'm looking at all the players that we've kind of been linked with before.
Okay.
So Daniel Munoz, who's he's so good.
I mean, Crystal Palace might be the best team at the World Cup.
Yeah, honestly,
it's insane the amount of talent they've put into these teams.
They're doing so well.
Yeah.
But another one is Falarin Balogun.
Mm-hmm.
He is a striker that I think he's going to have a breakout World Cup. He's already doing that, but I think he's going to get a big move.
He is a London kid.
Exactly, and if he wants to come back to London, we've got a spot for him.
Yeah, we need the signal mic on him so he can
Tell Flo to come.
just point straight in there.
I would love that to happen. I know he used to play for Arsenal, but at the same time, Chelsea were good as well.
Listen, as someone who's a U.S. fan, I don't want anyone to touch Chelsea because it's chaos, and I don't want anyone to have to live inside of it.
It's going to calm down now. Xabi Alonso's at the wheel.
Okay. Let me go back 2 years ago when they told me it was going to calm down, and 2 years before that. It is chaotic club, but I think for a lot of American fans, that would feel like a huge move to have a guy of his caliber, if he's a starter, starting at a team like Chelsea at that position. João Pedro is obviously there, so he would have to fight for his minutes, but he's a special player.
Yeah, and I think he's just growing and growing. And when he's been playing for Monaco, he had a obviously breakout season, and the season after it was a bit quieter. But at the same time, you can see his ability. And even at this tournament, some of the goals that he scored and the positions that he gets into, and just the maturity that he's showing that people questioned when he was at Arsenal, and they were saying, yeah, it's fine for him to go. And he was happy to go. And some people are a bit skeptical about players making moves overseas when you're already in the UK, but it's like he trusted himself, he backed his ability, and now he's shining. And even the fact that he's playing for the US and like they're getting so behind him, I just love that for him. And I'd love him to come back.
Well, I think he's enjoying life.
Yeah,
he is.
What other games? Are you going to have more games?
Hopefully. I've been getting last-minute tickets to a few
you need
games.
to talk to Theo. He got some last-minute tickets to this Germany game today.
Ecuador.
I feel like you guys have the good luck when it comes to last-minute tickets.
Have one team you haven't seen that you would love to be in the building for or atmosphere?
In this World Cup, Brazil.
Yeah.
Brazil.
Oh, yeah.
So what's the Neymar fandom?
I just love him, and I hate the way he's been disrespected.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the players that are having their last World Cup, the way the narratives are around them, I don't really like.
Like Salah, Mane, maybe
Ronaldo.
Messi.
Ronaldo, like Messi's the only one that's really getting a lot of credit. Obviously, he scored a hat-trick, so I get it. But Ronaldo, he's 41 years old. You can't expect the same type of Ronaldo that we saw 10 years ago. Just enjoy that this is his last dance, and that he's leading. He's trying to lead his nation to a World Cup. So
Memo did get a huge crowd ovation.
And,
he cried post game on the field. He started crying.
What's that called when they like throw him up in the air?
I don't know. It's just getting thrown up in the air.
Basket toss.
Is there a nickname for it?
I don't know.
So I will say this.
But he got that too, and I feel like he was like, should you be doing this? But okay, you can do it.
So I went to Brazil. That was my first World Cup. I fell in love with a lot of the nature around the national team. But the thing I realized very quickly was the pressure on Neymar. Yeah. He was on every billboard. He was on every commercial. He was on every bag of chips. He was on every bus stop. And I thought he elevated and performed under it. The team wasn't very good. And obviously he gets injured and they go out. And it felt like everything was his fault, good or... Well, sorry. It felt like everything was his fault bad and there was no good.
Yeah.
And he's been in a weird situation his whole career because he stayed in South America maybe longer than people expected. And there was these... I mean, Pele was making comments towards the end of his life before Neymar went to Barca where he's like, how can Messi be the best player in the world when he's not the best player in South America? And it was just like unnecessary for everyone. Pressure. And so I've always been a big fan of Neymar as well because I think the expectation is unfair.
Yeah.
And he's a great player. And I think we see this with a lot of players. It's happening to Mbappe right now as well. Of like, Mbappe is not the next Messi and he's not the next Zidane because no one is.
Yeah, he's just Mbappe.
But,
and let him be Mbappe.
Yeah.
And I think this World Cup's been great because all of the stars have showed up.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think that's what's made it beautiful. But at the same time, there are going to be those moments when they come up against each other and someone's going to have to lose. And that is okay. Like I think sometimes we expect that to just them to just constantly be at that level. And Vinicius scored a brace yesterday, and he looked incredible. Messi's having a great tournament. Ronaldo scored a brace. Haaland scoring. Even Haaland saying what he said about Mbappe. I love that.
Yeah.
Because he's just happy to be here. He knows he's good at scoring goals. Is he going to win the World Cup? Highly unlikely.
Yeah.
Is he going to still try and score goals and take his nation as far as possible? Of course. So let them just enjoy the experience. And I think maybe it's being out here, but I've just felt like I just need to enjoy it more, not put too much. Even on England, if they go out to a France or someone that is at that level, you can't really be mad at it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I felt that when we went and watched Canada yesterday. I was very upset. I love this Canadian national team. I have a lot of connections to it. But, like, that's a memory we'll have of, like, being in a packed bar with Canadians in New York City. Like,
and they're
singing their
losing
anthem.
2-0, and then they score, and it's like, we're going to win this game. And even afterwards, they were proud. It is. Yeah. Those are the moments. And I think that's a really good reminder is, you know, it's a lot of our jobs to talk about these things, but also you can't miss the plot, which is like, this is the best tournament in the world.
In the world.
But
ever. And we only get it once every 4 years.
Yeah, honestly.
Welcome to NBA Internet Discourse, which is if you win, you've beaten a fraud. So you've proven nothing. And if you lose, you're a fraud. And that's kind of where a lot of these star player conversations are going into. But also welcome to the U.S. because it's great having you. We're looking forward to having you again as we go along. Hopefully you get into as many games as possible.
For sure. Thanks for having me.
Thank you to you, Jordan, for being here. Thank you to Matt Doyle, wherever you are. Derek, of course. Katie, Theo. Connor, maybe. Ben, maybe as well. We will be back with our live post-game show post-U.S. Turkey. It'll be on the SoccerWise YouTube channel and on the SoccerWise podcast feed. We will be back live tomorrow, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Eric Krakauer is going to be joining us as well. Jordan, it's been amazing having you here. Have you had the best time ever?
It's been really fun. I wish I got to be here for longer.
Well, maybe we'll figure out. Something happened. Someone kept talking about how aliens were going to show up at the Scotland-Brazil game and move people around. So maybe we'll get you
I'll get like transporter
teleported in once or twice as this goes along. So thank you to all of you for listening, and we'll talk to you again very, very soon.